I am Guo Wengui. I was a real child of a farming family. I was born in a village of Zhaojiagou, township of Hongqingling, Panxi Country in Jilin Province. My father was a soldier, and my mom took care of housekeeping. They raised 8 of us, brothers and sisters, all together. It was very hard for them. During the time of the Cultural Revolution, my father was labeled as a rightist and exiled to the village of the Zhaojiagou. When I reached the school age, I went back to study in my hometown in the township of Gucheng, Xin Country of Shandong Province. In 1983, when I was graduated from the neighborhood junior high school, I left the school. I chose to go into business. Later, I met my wife. In 1985, we were so in love that we eloped to Zhengzhou city of Henan province, and we settled there. Then we had a daughter and a son. At that time, I was traveling between cities of Zhengzhou, Puyang, and Beijing and doing a bit of a business. In 1989, I witnessed the students organizing campaign marches for democracy. At the end of May, I sold my motorbike to make donations for the students. As a result, I was arrested by the local police for the crime of inciting counter-revolution. I was sentenced to imprisonment for 22 months. During the arrest, 2 drunken police hit and injured my younger brother. When he was taken to the hospital, police forbade the doctors treating my younger brothers. Ultimately, my brother died of excessive hemorrhage. In 1991, after being released from prison, I started to dabble in real estate business. In 1992, I established Yudai Real Estate Company Limited together with Madam Xia Ping, a Hong Kong businesswoman. The finest 5-star hotels at that time, Yudai International. Trade Center was also built. This building has kept the record of being the tallest building in Zhengzhou for 15 years. Later, I came to Beijing for more business opportunities. Signature real estate projects such as Golden Spring Square and Pangu Daguan were built. Pangu Daguan was also the first architecture feat of the dragon ship design. During 2008 Olympics, many foreign reports breaking their news with the Pangu Daguan as their background. It became the center of the attention of the world. Although the construction of Pangu Daguan was not at all a smooth venture. In 2003, the deputy mayor of Beijing at that time, Liu Zhihua, using payment of the transaction fees as an excuse, reclaimed the land. He intended to offer this piece of land to his lover for project development. Subsequently, I reported the corruption practice of Liu Zhihua and the mayor of the Beijing at the time, Wang Qishan, to the government. Central government set up a task force to further investigation this matter. In 2006, Liu Zhihua was shuanguid, then sentenced to death, with a suspended sentence of 2 years. Wang Qishan has a powerful background, so he was able to escape the investigation and punishment. Even though I got my land back, the investigation made Wang Qishan thoroughly antagonized him. In 2012, Wang Qishan was elected to become a member of a Politburo Standing Committee, as well as the secretary of the Central Commissions of the Discipline Inspection. Then the government officials who were involved in the investigations of the Liu Zhihua, such as Ma Jian and Meng Huiqing and others, were arrested one by one. Wang Qishan also suspected I have their sexual videos and evidence of their criminal act in my hand. Therefore, he executed the plan of my arrest as well. Once I became aware of this news, I quickly flew to Hong Kong, then England. In the end, for safety, I decided to come to the United States. But the fact is, though my person is broad, the persecution has never stopped even for a moment. In 2016, January the 10th, a SWAT team of more than 100 police and armed with ammunition, and several tens of the cadres from the Central Commission of the Discipline Inspection came to Pangu, arresting my families and employees with fabricated ground. Every penny of my company assets was investigated in the following 2 years. Be that as it may, they could not find any facts that is illegal or criminal. Not only that did not deter them, they doubled the efforts such as freezing my assets and persecuting my employees and family. Out of desperation, I started to leak news as an act of resistance and introduced the strategic Guo Seventh Principle. 2017, January the 26th, I accepted the interviews by Mirror TV and I started leaking news. The following years, I continued consistently breaking news on the corruption activities and illegitimate children's situation of Wang Qishan, Meng Jianzhu, Sun Lijun, and Fu Zhenhua. The news also reviewed the numerous bank accounts and the enormous amount of the assets abroad that were held by these people. Importantly, I reviewed the relationship between Wang Qishan's family and the HNA Group, disclosed how they stole wealth from peoples in China, and their evil bandit operation and thieving nature. Such disclosures triggers widespread attention and discussions in Chinese communities and among medias, both internationally and domestically. At the time my social medias receive additional tens of thousands of visitors daily, certainly such a breaking news also got under the skin of the gangs of the kleptocrats. Out with heavy artillery was to be expected. Wang Qishan's lover Hu, using her Caixin magazine, starting from 2015, published a slender series of articles continuously besmirched me, including Power Hunter, the cars of Guo Wengui, and others. Bo Xunnet is also an accomplice in aid of the gang's kleptocrats abroad. 2016 to today, it disseminated a large number of rumors, publications about me. For example, they claimed that I was arrested in Italy, or that Zhang Yang gave me 200 guns, or that Guo Wengui had a hand in any downfall of the government officials. Nevertheless, judging from the sentencings of those fallen government officials, they could not have anything to do with me. Such media's libel and slanders can only be the evidence that they deliberately plan to using such propaganda in shaping the momentums from the promotion of the gang's kleptocrats. In addition, in the course of my news breaking, they made use of various channels doing all things possible to stop me from going on. In 2017, April 19th, I accepted to have an exclusive interview with Voice of America. The interview was originally scheduled for 3 hours. Although the reporters and I had done mountains of preparation, no sooner I uttered the 3 syllables of Wang Qishan, the incredible than happened.
一再的只是威胁我，不允许再说话啊，相向而行。可是我的员工继续消失，我的家人继续受到威胁，这是不可以容忍的，所以我这儿必须爆料。那么这就是为什么我说要把王岐山这个书记这个事情直接给说出来的原因嘛。
对不起，我们现在就先得到这里给停止了。我们先停止。先停止。
The day before this interview, Interpol had issued a red notice for me. The purpose had been to stop VOA interviewing me. After the interruptions of the interview, I heard from Liu Yanping, the Secretary of the Commissioner of the Discipline Inspection under the Ministry of State Security. China's Communist Party utilized not only its internal power within the VOA to interrupt the live broadcasting. The reporters who interviewed me were all dealt with different levels of punishment. It was not an isolated case from interruptions of live broadcasting. Last year, I was originally scheduled speaking at Hudson Research Institute. It was also interrupted. Prior to the event, after the Hudson Research Institute released the event information, the website was attacked and rendered malfunctions by the hackers from China, Shanghai. China's visas for their staffs in China were threatened to resend it, so that they cancelled my speech session. Not only that, they kept a tight rein on the interviews that the mainstream media conducted with me. They also launched a series of attacks on my personal social media platform. My Twitter live streaming was often interrupted because hackers attacked frequently. Service was also suspended because it was attacked by hackers from China. Recently, Twitter even suspended my account service. The absurdity is that I have already been muted for nearly a year. Not sure about their motive for suspending my account at this juncture. It is hard to imagine the level of control and influence the CCP can exert over the media and business in the United States. Meanwhile, the gain of the kleptocrats amid promises of returning my frozen assets and assuring of my safety. Such were the conditions that I would stop talking. 2017, May, the Secretary for the Commission of the Discipline Inspection under the Ministry of the State Security, Liu Yanping, headed and senior officers who is in charge of the intelligence, came to the United States with the transit visas. They illegally interrogated me. Their actions raised the concerns of the government of the United States and the FBI. Just before returning to China, they were at one point detained by the FBI officers. The kleptocrats also bribed the U.S. businessman and lobbyist. April this year, the major media broke the news that last year in May, the kleptocrats attempted with help of the GOP fundraiser Ellie Lloyd Brody to persuade the U.S. government to repatriate me. The kleptocrats in Edison to plunging their attribution as high as $2 billion USD as fee for success, also promising to immediately release 2 Americans who were material criminals suspects and 60 spies, also accepting 60,000 Chinese persons to be repatriated as a conditions. The aim is to exhaust every means in order to repatriate me to China via a third country. Last year, the Association of the Chinese American frequently organized to protest outside of the building where I live. There were times that the numbers of our protesters reaching a few hundreds. They claimed that I was a big liar. They intended to ruin my reputation and to request the U.S. government to repatriate me. In view of all the things that happened, it is evident that there is inconceivable power behind the engineering of these events. They also set out various groundless legal statements in order to weigh my strength physically and financially. For example, the so-called rape case of Ma Rui. Ma Rui worked in my company for 1 year and a half, but they stated that in the complaint that she worked for me for 3 years while she was in the false imprisonment, also in the complaint. At the beginning, location on the case was in the United States. Later, it was changed to England and Bahama. Yet, the case was lodged with the police in China. The lawsuit was represented, as well as paid for the relevant fees by the ministers of public security in China. Weren't these all not enough to tell the truth of the matter? It is because the kleptocrats plotted with various means brought against me, compounded with the persecution against my family in China. I profoundly feel the threat toward my life, my safety. Out of desperation, I authorized the Clark Hill LLP filing applications of the political asylum. Upon accepting my case, the 500 computers in this office, where it is just 1,500 meters from the White House, were hacked and paralyzed by the Chinese hackers, and cannot be turned on. The hackers also stole more than 5,000 client information. Hackers also made threats to the lawyers that they cannot represent me on my case. In the end, in order to secure the protection on clients' information as well as the recovery of the normal operation of the firm's computers, the firm chose to compromise. They no longer represent my case. My friends, this all happened in the America, happened in the land of freedom, the United States of America. Please think the institutions in the United States, media and law firms were actually under the control and the threat of the CCP in various ways. It dared to create such blatant hackers that even more blatantly to cite such information all over the place. It created a serious potential menacing situation in security. This has confirmed yet again what I put forward during the Washington, D.C. press conference in 2017 October, that is, China has a series of schemes designed for the United States. For instance, the blue, gold, yellow scheme. Blue is to use internet for control, gold money for bribery, and women for traps. So they can use to push forward their hidden agenda. There is also the 3F scheme, that is Fall USA, Fail USA, Fail USA. We're not already proven this point with all the incidents that actually happened. In other words, if they can carry out all those plays that are shamelessly menacing, savage, and filthy to me in the United States just to shut me up, just to stop me from breaking news. They relentlessly laid siege to suppress me and engage me in unrestricted warfare in all kinds of ways. Won't they do that to someone else? Therefore, I stand up making news. That is to fight for my basic survivals, to fight for the safety of my families and employees. It is to get justice for my younger brothers who were shot dead 29 years ago. It is to fight for the realization of what I hope for. That is, China would have the genuine rule of law and the democracy. It is the change of the China from the party is all to the delivery from the state government that was controlled by the kleptocrats, and from the Communist Party that is a threat to the world. For this day to come, I must stand firm to go on. It is because of the situation, my news breaking was years ahead of my original plan, even though every session of my news breakings is overshadowed with Pence coercions and briberies and death threats. I would never opt to surrender. Keep on going until today I review to you the conspiracy of the kleptocrats, that is the death of Wang Jian from HNA. The death of Wang Jian clearly shows the intrinsic characters of the kleptocrats, that is to steal the wealth and to kill without a trace. The whole world thought he died from photograph taking accident of suicide by jumping off the cliff. I believe that he was murdered by the gangs of the kleptocrats intentionally. Today, I shall provide you with the evidence to show you how vintage the structure of the CCP is, and it's a threat to the world. Finally, you will find it out, as long as that is what they wanted it to be. Every one of us can be the next Wang Jian.
忘记说了，我给胖子放假了，所以他没有出现。好了，我们明年见。
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe The Voice of Go Media.